I'm going to fit one of our new upgrade kits on the back of this SR80Pro. Kit comes with a dual pickup rudder, which I've already bolted on, a stinger with a 316 drive instead of the 5mm thing that you can't, get props for. So I've already bolted that one on. It's just a matter of taking the old ones off, putting them straight on. Trim tabs, much wider. So this is your standard one. That actually came that way actually. And these are the ones with ours. They're a lot wider, and if you had them pushed down, they're going to slow the boat down a lot. But if you've got the boat modified or in rough water, you need the extra width. You don't have to push them down, obviously. You can keep them up high, not going to wipe any speed off. And turn fins. These are the fins that come with it. These aren't the ones that are going to be in our kit. I've just misplaced the ones we got delivered the other day, but they're going to be not quite as big as this. These are Traxxas Spartan ones. The ones that we're going to be putting in the kits are quite a bit bigger than this. With turn fins, it doesn't matter if they're too big, because you can have it angled back as far as you want. It's not going to create any drag if you have it sort of back, but it does give you the option to have more use of the fin if it's in the water deeper. Alright, the other thing I'll probably do is fit a wire drive to it as well. So our wire drives are 316 here, so they're going to suit the new Strut, or with 2.5mm wire, 316 stainless steel. 316 is the grade of stainless steel, not the size, and they're not welded. They are actually made all from one piece of material, so there's no weak joint there. So I'll do that last. So I've already put the rudder on. I'll be running the new lines, and that simple. That's already bolted on. The only thing you have to do apart from bolting things on is drill one hole, because our trim tabs being much wider, you can only use one of the bolt holes. So I'll just do that first. The bolts that come in our kit are all these 3mm ones. The screws are the factory way they do it. This like wood screw type thing, which is a little bit, I don't know, I'm surprised they do it. They're a blind hole, so they don't have a nut on the inside. You can either reuse these screws and they'll go in, but after they've been in and out of plastic once, the second time they're not as good. If you want to, you can do what I'm doing here and using the bolts that come in the kit, and because it's kind of making a new thread as it's going in, it's much tighter. But it's up to you if you want to do that or not. We just put the bolts in for like a universal fitment, so these parts can go on any boat. Okay, so you can't really do this wrong. You've got to choose one of the holes and make a new hole for the other one. So you can't actually, will it fit? Oh yeah, you could actually use that one, but don't. Use this one on this side, and then that brings the tab down lower. There's not much point having a tab all the way up there when the boat's traveling at a decent speed. It's traveling on this part of the hull, it's not traveling up here. So just remember that you want to be using that hole there, and we're going to drill a new hole down here for this one here. I'm going to put a little bit of silicone on there, but as I said, it's a blind hole, so it shouldn't leak anyway. You can kind of see that it's blocked off anyway, but I'm just going to put a dab of silicone in both of those. So the best way to drill that second hole is bolt this side in first, get it straight. Just look at the bottom, there's a tiny little gap underneath there. Make sure it's the same all the way along, and while it's in there, just drill your hole. 3mm drill. I use a super long drill so it keeps it away. If you've got a normal one, it would probably reach. If it didn't, you would just mark it and then take the tab off and drill it. You could take this bottom part off that's sticking out and just use this top bit, and then the short drill would reach. So it's just going to be one of the bolts and a nut and a washer on the inside. Okay, I forgot to say, just obviously you would do it with any bolt you'd ever put through the back of a boat, put some silicone on the thread of the bolt. The size of the nut is 3.5, no 5.5, sorry. And you know, your bolt, your hex head on the actual bolt is 2.5 mil. Now, it looks like it will go even closer. If I was to use the inside bolt for the outside of the tab, I could get that right down there if I wanted to. So it's up to you if you wanted to put it there. It will fit, but then it's very close to this. That's not how I'm going to do mine. So I'm just using that outside one there for the outside of this, and have it like that. Also, if you don't have one of these real long drill bits, don't do your rudder first. Just do your trim tab first, or else you're not going to be able to reach it with a drill bit. I actually changed the term fins to Sonic weight ones because they're a little bit shorter than the Spartan ones. But like I say, the ones we're going to have in the kits are going to be just a little bit smaller than that again anyway. These are just prototype. These ones are going to be anodized black on the top here. Now, for the strut, you notice is different. This part here is different than mine because I had already converted this to a 316 cable. So I'd swap this over from this one here. If I remember right, just the tube there was coming out into the strut, so you wouldn't have that heat shrink on there. What you want to do with the strut, it can be moved forward or back. You can see from the slots there. Just make it the same level. Just put the bottom of it the same level as the hull, same angle and same height, and see how that goes. If you were to move it up, not angle, I mean height. If you move it up, you'll find the boat is slower. If you move it down, the boat will be looser. And that's because when you move it down, the hull actually lifts up. So the prop always wants to sit on the same part of the water, like half and half in the water. So if this is higher, that's going to push the boat down and make it, run more wet, make it slower. Dead level. Just to start with, you can play around with that later on. This strut, I got these made up with roller bearings in there rather than just a bush, so it should be nice and free. And I'm going to take the collet off, get rid of the cable, and put this one in. Change the collet to a joiner. Okay, so that's my old cable next to the wire drive, so I'm just going to mark the length. Now it is stainless steel, so it is a little bit hard to cut. Also, I'm not just going to leave it like that. I'm going to put a point on it or chamfer it so that when it's sliding through here along the Teflon liner, it doesn't dig into it. I'm also going to have to put my flap there for the prop. You can copy the old one, or you can just slide it all in, put your drive dog on, and screw the drive dog in after you know where the prop's going to be. And then you'll leave a mark, and that's where you'll just grind it flat. You can use this if you want, but it's easier on a bench grinder. Just make sure you got all your screws backed out, so you're not fighting with it when it's in there. And remember, 2 each side, or 1 each side for the motor, 2 for the shaft. Okay, so it's in. Now, because it's pretty tight tolerances, you've got a 2.5 mil hole with a 2.5 mil shaft going in. It's got to be pretty straight. Okay, it's just okay. All right, that's in. I'll tighten that up directly. Now, I've got a fair bit to play with here, because this can slide right up to the where the motor shaft is here, so it can be anywhere, you know, from cut there to, could even be just one grub screw if it, you know, if you cut it too short. It's not going to be the end of the world, but 2 is better. I'm just going to put that on there and just mark it by screwing it in. Just see how much length I've got here. Left myself a bit tight there, so I'm going to pull that out a little bit. So now it's just a matter of just running an extra cooling circuit. So standard is going into the motor cooler, out, then through the speed controller. It should be the other way around. You really should cool your speed controller first, but whatever. But we're going to bypass all that anyway. So I'm going to be going in the cooler to out the boat, and then a separate one through in the speed controller out, and then out a separate outlet. Now, two choices with the hose that I've got when I make these kits up. The standard one, what comes with it is a 3mm internal, which is what we call our small size hose. I've got the big size, the 4mm, but it's really not going to make any difference, and people probably aren't going to want to get rid of that outlet to put a bigger outlet in there, and it's going to cost more to add another outlet in the kit. So what I'm going to do is just make the kits up with small size hose and just one extra outlet. I like to put a hose cover on there as well. I'm going to just put one right next to it, providing there's nothing in the way here. Doesn't seem to be. Same here. Cool. So I've put some tape on there so the gel coat doesn't go flying everywhere. And I've marked it as best I can to be in line with it. It's actually the hardest thing to do, to mark a hole where you've actually got a fitting already in there. It's so much harder to find the center. So if you're a little bit off, you just have to, if you're a bit off, you'll be able to have to cheat a little bit when you elongate the hole if you need to, but I think I've got that pretty good. Okay, so what do we got here? What size is this? Is it 6mm? I think it might be. It sure is. Okay, so 6mm drill bit for the outlet. Obviously you would step it up, probably do a step in between the 3 and the 6. So don't look at me. And this one here, what are you going to be? It's a little bit more crucial to get this one right. You don't want to be bigger, that's for sure. Should be putting silicone on it. Looks good. Using the same 6mm. Let's hope my eyes are doing the right thing and telling me what I need to know. Okay. When you put this one in, make sure you put a bit of Loctite on there. Okay, this has got a little rubber underneath there that I forgot to pull off. I don't know why they give it to you. It always just does that. As soon as you tighten it down, it's just got to expand somewhere. I normally just take them off before I even try screwing them in. Now, well, I've done the right thing with this one here. I've gone just a little bit too small. My next step up is 6.5, and I don't want to risk that, so just gonna go real slow, because I want it to be a tight fit in there. Don't want to have to deal with it popping out. Not quite. So there. Gotcha. All right, beautiful. Okay. If you were super fussy, you just buy an extra meter of hose, get rid of the standard hose, put 2 bits of hose in that are identical outside diameter, and you can buy another outlet to match that one, and buy a hose cover for this if you wanted to. These are always super tight in there. This is really hard to pull through. It's good to spray a bit of CRC on there because I'm pulling it down and over. Let's see how we go. Wow, that spins really good. Wow, look at that. There's just no resistance there at all between the bearing and there and the small drive shaft. Wow, that's really good. That means more speed, more run time, and less temperature. Less stress on your electrics. Okay, so this is the SR80 with all the stuff on the back, new stuff, dual pickup rudder. What do we got? 316 strut, wire drive, 316, bigger tabs, bigger fins. What else did I change? I think that was it. It's got a decent prop on there too that I know works well on this boat. Let's see what adjustments I've got to make. So 4S battery, by the way. I think we need to tone it down a bit. Got a bit too much jumping going on. So I'll pull those tabs down a touch. Okay, so I've moved my trim tabs down a little bit. I think I've got them dead level now. And I moved the battery pack just forward a little bit. You can't go much. The speed controller's in the way. Let's see what we get. Oh yeah, you can already see it's better. Look at that. Well, it's a lot easier to get going right than a Spartan, I can tell you that much. Still needs some more adjustment, but it's not too bad. Good beginner boat, so it's easy to set up. That's what you want. Alright.